Herd at Sports Radio. Every weekday morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Join hosts Robbie Lula and Damon Benning and our cast of Herd at Sports personalities as they share their fresh perspectives while keeping you highly entertained. Take a dive into the latest news in all things sports, from the pros to right here at home. Catch Herd at Sports Radio with Robbie Lula and Damon Benning, 7 to 10 a.m. on air, online, and on podcast. Herd at Sports Radio.
W-T-L.
It's time!
W-T-L.
I think we got a show. Oh, yeah, we got a show.
W-T-L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klesson, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, we are. And, we're getting into the dog days of summer here.
We are.
And, what better time than to talk NFL?
That's the only time to talk about it, I think.
Now, tomorrow, yesterday, it is
every
always,
day, all day.
It is always time for that freight train that is the NFL. Well, odds have come out over divisional winners.
Yeah.
And we got to get right into it here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the NFC South.
You're speaking to me.
Yes, we are, and you're Carolina Panthers, and I guess if you want to be a dreamer, a dreamer and a believer, you can't get better odds, and if that's where you want to start, 1,500?
Yeah, if you want really good odds, bet on the Carolina Panthers, Andy. No, this just looks like, the bottom line for the Carolina Panthers is the one positive in Carolina is also one of the biggest negatives is that they have their quarterback, but we don't know if he's good yet. And we don't know if we have a good enough offensive line to protect him. Yeah. It's just one of those, revolving doors right now. So I think he does have the talent. I think he will develop a lot more in the second year. But, doesn't look well for the Panthers this year. Probably finish fourth in the division, maybe squeak out 2 games.
He did get dinged up last year, and it felt like everyone just spoke that into existence. And that was the big harp was he's too small of a guy. He doesn't have a big enough body frame. All these things, and then he did get hurt, and you heard all the "told you so," "told you so." I never understood that why so many NFL teams will draft these young guys, and whether they're ready or not, they'll throw them out through a patchwork offensive line. Rebuilding, total rebuild. They lost their coach, right? He went somewhere.
No doubt.
It's just a very tough scenario there for year 2 and Bryce Young in Carolina, and I wouldn't even waste a sprinkle. I wouldn't even look at this as far as being a divisional winner here.
Yeah, no, definitely not, Andy. I'm not looking at over-under on wins or anything on the Carolina Panthers this year. I'm just going to be a hopeful fan, stay away from it, hope they develop. If they get 5 or 6 wins, great. If they don't, we're not expecting too much this year.
And like so many divisions in the NFL, nobody stays on top for very long.
No.
And the NFC South, before Tom Brady, was just a revolving door. Every year was somebody new. Every year was somebody new. And this brings us to, let's just work our way up from bottom to top on up. And this is where it gets interesting for me. The New Orleans Saints are at a plus 350. That slots them in the 3rd position there in the NFC South. I like Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I always have. He led them to a winning record last year, and not many people were, counting them for anything. And they just missed the playoffs for the first time in 5 or 6 years, something like that. I would not be surprised if they make it back to the playoffs, just maybe not win the division, but that 350 odds, that might be the best bet in this division.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's the best bet, Andy. I don't think you're too far off. Like you said, Derek Carr led them to 9-8 last year. 4-2 in the division, which is the big number that stands out there, Andy. Ended the season with back-to-back wins over the Bucs and the Falcons. Can they carry this momentum into the season? I think that there's a chance they can. It's just I really have them as the second place in this division.
Okay, so you still have them punching up, outperforming their where they're slated right now.
Correct. I still believe that they're the second best team in this division, Andy. So I don't like them, winning the division or anything like that. You might want to look at their wins. I think they have them over 7.5 right now. I believe that's probably a good bet.
Yeah.
So that's what I would look in there. I don't have them win the division. You have to go one more notch up for me. The second place here, according to the odds, is who I think is going to take home the cake.
You know, in the draft, they address their offensive line. They got that offensive tackle at Oregon State, Fuga. And then I think they got the best name in round 2 at cornerback, Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah, he is, and he's fast.
And he's very fast. Cornerback, he's definitely going to have a direct impact right away.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they had to, in the 5th round, get Spencer Rattler.
Had to.
He's always a headline maker, and I don't ever know, like, what is he doing? What is Spencer Rattler doing?
Just going to college for 9 years and then transferring school 3 times and then gets drafted by the New Orleans Saints. So that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
From what I'm hearing, your best bet would probably be the New Orleans Saints making the playoffs, which is at a plus 170 right now.
Okay.
Even to take down a wild card spot. So plus 170 for the New Orleans Saints, probably your best bet on that one.
They're due, and I do like the Saints, and somehow Derek Carr, no matter what hand he is dealt, he figures it out. Even in Oakland. He would win games in Oakland.
Even in Fresno State.
Even at Fresno State, he was winning games. All right, let's move on up to a team that everyone knows a lot about, who won the division last year, but they're not getting the respect this year. Well, 2 of those went to Tom Brady.
Yep.
And we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. However, Baker Mayfield, another guy that I kind of like.
Yeah.
I kind of like Baker and his attitude and this and that and whatever else. He did win the division, went 4-2 as well.
Yeah, went 4-2 in the division, Andy. And what I think is going to carry a lot of momentum into this season, upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles in the wild card round of the playoffs.
Yep,
a lot of people weren't ready for Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans to put on the show that they did. I really believe as they brought Mike Evans back, extended deal this coming year, I think it's going to be a really good fantasy combo with Baker and Mike Evans.
That. Yeah, I like that.
And I just think this is the most bang for your buck right now, Andy, is for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the NFC South at a plus 295 on DraftKings right now. I love that value.
Yep.
A division winner last year. There's no question marks of new quarterback, new scheme, new coach, any of that stuff. It's Baker's show now, and they're going to let him have the reins, and they got their all-star Pro Bowl wide receiver coming back on extended guaranteed money.
And I know Mel Kiper Jr. Gave them a grade B for their draft, but I love their draft. They got that Graham Barton, the number 1 ranked center in the first round. That's going to help out
Baker.
Yeah, and he's not that tall of a guy, so Baker can see over top of him. I do believe Baker does deserve a lot of the shade that he does receive.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
He's controversial. He always has been.
But when he has a guy like Mike Evans, he's going to feed him.
Yeah.
And that's such a weird double-edged sword to me, where it's like, well, he's so predictable, he's just going to throw it to Mike Evans. And then if he doesn't, it's like, well,
why you throw it to Mike Evans?
You got a playmaker. You got to feed the outside. You got to get to the outside, and you're not doing it. So Baker's always drew that. I feel like it's an unfair, type of
if you act like that and you don't conform to the rules and everything, they're going to come against you. It's kind of like Mike Evans' first quarterback, Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of that. One of my best bets, Andy, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe is free money right now. Plus 125 is over 8.5 wins. I believe even if they don't win the division, if somebody even gets out ahead of them a little bit, I do believe that they will have 9 wins and they're going to make the playoffs. So I love the over 8.5 wins at plus 125 right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do believe they'll win the division, so take that plus 295 on my side.
Yeah.
But if you want to scale back a little bit and
plus
you just
125.
plus 125 for over 8.5 wins.
You know, we talked about how the Buccaneers went 4-2 last year in the division. So did the team behind them. Went 4-2. I don't think both of those teams. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints do well. I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa Bay. Can they both go 4-2 again when we're going to get to who's actually slated here to win the division?
I do believe
so. Too many wins, right, in one division to go around.
So, Andy, because I believe this is one of the stinkers of the entire NFL season.
Oh, boy, here we go.
I believe these Atlanta Falcons, who are sitting in the top spot, like you just said, Andy.
Minus 125.
Minus
not even
125. First of all, this guy's never played for the Atlanta Falcons before in his life, never played it down with any of these guys. He's coming off a huge injury in this team. Sucks. I think this team sucks. I think this team is just as bad as the Carolina Panthers, Andy. I wouldn't be surprised if they only win 2 games in the division, maybe against the Carolina Panthers.
I mean, they got Bijan Robinson. They got a good running back, right? They got some speed and talent on a receiver, and it doesn't matter. And that was a luxury Kirk Cousins had in Minnesota. Justin Jeffries and Jefferson, sorry. But I also think Kurt doesn't get a lot of credit for that.
Maybe.
He would throw the ball to him quite often, and he would also give him the benefit of the doubt. He would throw a lot of 50-50 balls his way, and he was paid off for it.
He definitely was.
He was paid off for it. I think you're going to see a dip in Minnesota, obviously, and I think you're going to see a rise in Atlanta. I thought Atlanta, for all the heat that they caught for their draft, I thought it made perfect sense to catch that heat. Like, why would you bring in Kirk Cousins to just turn around and move up to pick up another quarterback who's injury prone?
Yeah.
From Washington, Penix Jr. I love Penix Jr.
I love Penix Jr.
And I'm in his bowl game, the lack of performance and all that stuff, that doesn't scare me as far as the draft pick.
No.
What does is his injury history of injuries, but more than that, you already spent a bunch of money to bring. You already addressed that.
Yeah.
You know, so where both Tampa Bay and the Saints went out in the first round and got big, heavy, athletic offensive linemen. What are the Atlanta Falcons doing?
They really could have helped out Kirk. They really could have helped out their defense, offensive line, whatever they wanted to do. But no, I think in the back of the Atlanta Falcons' mind, they think Kirk's going to get hurt again. I really do believe that.
Then why pay him?
Why pay him? I don't know. I'm just saying I think this is one of the dumpster fires of the whole entire NFL season, and that's why I'm putting a bunch of money on under 9.5 wins for the Atlanta Falcons at a plus 115 right now.
Okay.
I believe that is one of the best bets, if not the best bet in the NFC South this year. I do not like the Atlanta Falcons. I love Kirk. I hope he does well, but I just don't see it this year with this team in this division. I get that it's wide open, but I have 2 guys here that I think have been in the division for a long time, know how it works, all that kind of stuff, and Kirk's going to come in without the weapons that he's usually used to having, trying to throw it to Kyle Pitts every single down, and it's not going to work for him.
Yeah. You packed a lot in there, and I do like, and you addressed the question I had for you. If Tampa Bay is going to go over 8.5, if the Saints are going to go over 8, where are these wins going to come from? You're saying the Falcons aren't going to get there.
Falcons are a bomb,
and they could still have a nice season, go 9-8.
Maybe
the hook. They're not going to get to 9.5, you're saying.
They ain't going to get to 10 wins. I'll tell you that.
So to me, it sounds like you're thinking the Buccaneers. For the conference.
For the championship.
For the division.
Division champs.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. You heard the horn. That means we're up against it, but let's take a quick minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.
WTL.
All he does is work out and hit runners. 10 and 2, 85% weekend. You're a mutant.
WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. You know what that stands for. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron,
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
And we got Jeremy Odom.
Yeah, of course.
We didn't run him off quite yet.
Not yet.
Still got him in studio here.
I'm not going anywhere. I mean, you're going to have to kick me out.
You're going to have to kick him out of here. Maybe after we start talking about the AFC West, he might leave.
Well, you know what? I may leave after that. You're right.
Okay, that lick the wounds, throw some salt in that. Okay. But hey, let's not start there.
Let's not start there.
Yet. But we do want to talk about divisional winners. Some lines have been coming out for the NFL, like they always do this time of year. And we want to start with the NFC North. Talk about a couple of teams that, we have a couple of big fan bases, that being obviously the Vikings, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers. And all of a sudden, we got a bunch of Detroit fans just everywhere.
Just the picked winner.
They're just everywhere.
They're just everywhere now. So, I didn't know there were so many of them.
I know. Just gray and that baby blue just popped up everywhere.
Crazy.
Old Ndamukong Suh jerseys.
Yeah. Coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Megatron. Yep.
All you got to do is win a few games and make the playoffs, and then you're a fan favorite. And also, you're a favorite as far as the books are concerned. Yeah. Should we start right there with the Detroit Lions?
Let's do it.
They're at a plus 185 on ESPN Bet right now. They are your favorite, not by a wide margin, but they are your favorite over the Green Bay Packers to take down the NFC North.
Well, I think they have to be, Andy, just because of the body of work that they had last year and the very good playoff performances that they did. They should have took down the San Francisco 49ers and just couldn't hold up at the end and do that. But, they should be the favorite here. I mean, you do got a couple monsters lurking in the back with Jordan Love and obviously Caleb Williams coming in for the Chicago Bears.
True.
The crazy thing about this whole division to me, Andy, is legitimately I think the best team from last year is the fourth place team now. At plus 1,000, the Minnesota Vikings are all the way down at the bottom because Kirk O'Chains is an Atlanta Falcon now.
Yeah, he is.
So I thought that was absolutely crazy that they're all the way down there. Yeah. I think they still retain a lot of pieces that they had last year, but they do not have the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to bring up the rear here, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of buzz around Chicago. I don't know if a lot of this is just sucker bet type stuff. I'm a Chicago Bear fan. I'm going to get that out there. But I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. Why would I be? Why would I be? I mean, depending on what color he paints his nails that week. That's
hopefully
gonna be,
orange.
That's going to be very important.
Yeah.
But I still like the Vikings, too, to at least get third or even second. Maybe something crazy can happen. Maybe their rookie quarterback can pull something out and take down this division. I don't think the Vikings should be at a plus 1,000. I don't think they should be in that fourth place. Jeremy, let's get to you here. Your initial thoughts on Detroit.
I mean, every year there's the team there's 6 teams, right, that don't make the playoffs that did the year before.
Yeah.
This division has one. I don't think it's the Lions. They're built to win. I think they are built
They
to...
signed Goff, too. I thought that was a good contract.
No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Had to sign him.
Had to happen. They are definitely good enough to finish second in this division this year. I also think the Packers are one of those teams that are just not going to make the playoffs.
Let's go.
They will have a fall off. People have tape now. They're going to finish last. I like what you're saying about the Vikings. They are better than what they're given. So, third place sounds good. I'm buying the hype on the Bears.
Yes.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I am. There's something about it that feels organic, that feels like a team built together with excitement and chemistry, that guys that are just excited to be there and play, and the fan base is excited to be there and love their team. I'm excited. I don't like the Bears at all by any means as a fan.
Yeah, me neither.
But as somebody looking at the division, man, I'm excited. I really am, man. I'll tell you what. If Caleb Williams leads the Bears to a win week 1, I'll paint my nails. I'll come on the show. I'll paint my nails.
I'll paint mine too.
Get some navy blue. Get some of that bright orange.
No, I couldn't agree more with you. One of my best bets that I have written down over here is the Bears over 8.5 wins.
Wow.
I really think it's one of the best futures in all of NFL football. I think people are underestimating Caleb Williams for one, and just the amount of talent they have on the offensive side of the ball. DJ Moore.
Yeah.
We're talking Keenan Allen, and then they just went and got Rome Odunze. Yeah. They are going to be a all-star team on this offensive side of the ball if they can get Caleb Williams going, which I think they can, and then playing against this, I don't want to call it a watered-down defensive league, but it kind of is. The NFC North. You saw the Lions; they just let people score on them and then try to outscore them. Yeah. That's their MO. And I'm Packers are kind of gritty on the defensive end, but I do believe the Bears have the best defense in the division.
They do.
Wow.
And I think they got the best receiving core now. So it's all surrounded by Caleb Williams. Is he going to be a bust? Is he not going to be? I'm betting on he is not. 8.5 wins over for the Bears. I believe they can win this division as well.
There's a couple of things that are working for you there. Williams doesn't have to be a bust. All he has to do is distribute the ball. Yeah. And he's got more than enough weapons to do that.
Mitch Trubisky could win this division this year.
And he did.
100%.
He accidentally did that one year.
Exactly.
And his best play, his highlight play was it's 3rd and 5 and he scrambled for 7 yards.
No doubt.
I believe
Fields' best play too.
That was his best play, and a little dirty kept secret was, Fields, they're not giving anything to work. That's garbage.
That is garbage. They've been building.
They built a big offensive line in front of him. They patched it up. That's a good offensive line, and with DJ Moore, that addition, and everybody's running back by committee. So don't give me that.
Yeah.
He should have been able to do more. And also, I thought the Bears played their hand perfectly with him, where they let him out on the open market, and it was crickets. Nobody said nothing. So that kind of validated them not paying him that big contract.
Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have 2 starting quarterbacks, but don't really have any.
You're going to call them that? So, I don't know. It's tough for me to
for sure.
To
You're
sign
too
off
close.
on
You're too close.
I'm too close
You're
to
too
it.
close.
But then that leaves with the favorite, the Detroit Lions, and I guess I got to go along with the chalk here. I like the Lions to win this division.
If you're getting plus money with the Lions right now, I think you have to take it. You said, you can get it probably from plus 185 all the way down to plus 150 across books.
Yeah.
They are the proven winner. They have the quarterback that isn't a question mark. They got the coach that really amps them up. The home field advantage that really amps them up. I like Detroit to win this division, but you can't sneeze up at the Bears, I don't think.
Here's a line. If you do a little digging on how well the books respect the Detroit Lions, and it's most wins overall. Of course, the Chiefs are out in front at plus 500, but right behind them are the Ravens and 49ers plus 550, plus 550, and then the Lions at plus 800. They are projected
right there.
4th overall to have the most wins. And to your point earlier, if you're going to have a little bit of a watered-down division that gives up points, that plays right into Detroit's hands.
It really does.
They can rack up 2 wins versus this team, 2 wins versus that team. And that's why they're sitting here at a plus 800 for most wins in the NFL.
And why they're sitting at plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They put people on notice, and I just hope that they haven't built up such a head that they think that they're that. Don't forget what got you there. You are a gritty team that scores points and beats the NFC North. That's what they need to do to get back to where they need to be.
Isn't it crazy that in a division that has the Packers, that has the Vikings, that the Lions have the best culture right now?
They do. Yeah. It's all about coach and the guy they brought in to buy in. So it was awesome.
It's nuts.
Absolutely
It
awesome.
really is, and people are so high on Jordan Love right now. It's like, okay, and that's where I feel like them at a plus 185. That's like where the books are like, oh yeah, sure, the Huskers coming off 3 wins. Let's put them at 7.5 wins next year.
No doubt.
I feel like they're just really suckering those Packer fans that are going to bet the Packers no matter what.
He has shown very good signs of progressing.
He has.
He's kind of along that trajectory that Aaron Rodgers was on. I think Aaron Rodgers probably won a Super Bowl in this coming year of Jordan Love's career that he's coming into. So people are wanting that jump. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't think they have enough playmakers around them to do what they want to do. I'm not saying the Packers are a bad team. I just don't think that they will be in the upper echelon of this division.
If you want to bet the Packers, bet them to not make the playoffs. It's plus 155. You get the plus money.
There we go.
It's there.
Get the plus money. I love that bet. I don't think they'll make the playoffs.
All right. Do you got any creative bets that you want to get into here with this division?
Well, my first one and overall one is the Bears over 8.5 wins, Andy. Obviously, I am all over that. I think they have what it takes. I think Caleb Love is the guy to do it. And I absolutely love your bet with the plus money with the Green Bay Packers missing the playoffs. My only Hail Mary here, Andy, would be the Minnesota Vikings somehow screeching into the playoffs, and I don't think it can happen.
Yeah,
but it's at a plus 260 right now.
Okay.
I don't find it too crazy of a bet, but I would have to see JJ in that whole new scheme play a few games.
That speaks to how important the quarterback really is in the NFL, because I almost feel like the Vikings would almost be a lock if Kirko was still there.
Oh, for sure.
100%
but he's not there.
They would be splitting with the Detroit Lions. That's how good that offense is, and how good they were coached, and how good, it would be flat lines between Detroit.
He was just a machine. He was so unflashy that, the Kohl's clothing and all that stuff, it was a joke, and he leaned into it, and it was fun. but man, that generated wins.
It did. And now he's in my division, and I don't like it. So
now, they did lead to a win with a quarterback that had been there like a day.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
maybe.
No, they got a team.
Guy,
that's why I don't think they should be at the bottom. But no, that would be my only Hail Mary bet would be the Vikings making the playoffs somehow.
Jeremy, do you got any creative bets for this division heading in?
Some would say the Chicago Bears winning the division is quite the reach itself.
It is.
At plus 300, I like it if you're buying the hype, but that's probably as far as I can reach from here.
Hey, that's the thing about futures, Andy.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, bear down.
Bear down.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. But hey, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on.
T-L.
This Saturday I will go on national television, live. I will say horrible things on the air, despicable things, and people will call me brave.
T-L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Class, and joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the parlay pound.
You got it. We're back.
And once again, we are not alone. The J.O.
Oh, it feels so good to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Jeremy Odoms back with us in the studio, and we talked some futures. We got to talk some more futures.
Some more futures, Andy.
AFC West, the lines are out, and I mean, wouldn't you know it, the Chiefs.
The who?
The Kansas City Chiefs are their team there
Never heard
in
of
Missouri, but they're called Kansas City. Whatever.
Yeah.
I swear nobody believed it. What happened?
Yeah, what happened to this?
But they're your heavy favorite to take down the division once again. Patrick Mahomes, it's like Genghis Khan. I mean, he's just defeating everybody in his way. This division hasn't stood a chance since he took over that starting role for the Chiefs. They're at a minus 250 to win this division, and I really can't argue it.
It's really tough to argue it, Andy. Obviously, they have won this division since 2016.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they were plus 160 back there, plus 225 the year after that, plus 275 the year after that, minus 200, minus 400, minus 275, plus 170, and then just last year they were minus 160 to win the division. You could have just cashed on every single one of those years and be the smartest man alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so hard to go against them right now just because they got the pieces back. Obviously, they signed Kelsey. Mahomes is looking like the best player in the history of the National Football League.
Yep.
They got Andy Reid.
Yep.
Harrison Butker looks like the best kicker alive.
And speech giver.
Just putting out really good points out there. Family points for everybody.
He's scoring points in the offseason.
Yeah,
he is so popular. What happened?
Yeah, he's so popular.
Yeah,
now.
what did he do?
PAT's on and off the field. It's very good.
Love you, Mom. Love all women.
But no, they just seem like the top go-getter here. But there's no value in betting the Chiefs to win this division.
Yeah, to minus 250.
There really isn't. So what we have to do, Andy, in Germany, is look at this second team and say, do they have a chance? And what I'm going to ask Jeremy, the Los Angeles Chargers fan, do the Chargers have a chance to win this division?
Well, of course there's a chance, right?
Okay.
They're playing the games. This is the division that it burns me the most, as you guys know. Big Chargers fan. The lightning bolt on my forearm.
Yeah.
It strikes so hard I can't even feel my arm. I love the bolts deep in my core.
Yeah.
We don't stand a chance, though. It's like we're plus 300 to win the division. There's going to be a year that Herbert takes down Mahomes one time to win the division.
Okay.
You know that's coming.
Okay.
It's going to happen one time. Why not? Harbaugh's first year. People don't know what's going on. The whole entire team's kind of restructured, fresh strategy.
He's
built
really
up the
good.
offensive line.
Yeah, he's really good his first couple of years at the helm. Where everywhere he's been, Stanford, the 49ers.
Nevada.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Those first couple of years, he really, kind of rallies the troops and gets them to kind of, hit out of their league. And maybe that's the Chargers this year.
Yeah. What I'm going to say about the Chargers, Andy, is I have the pretty much exact same bet that we were talking about with the Chicago Bears on Bears.
The Bears.
At last section, is they have the same total of win, 8.5, over 8.5, minus 155 bet. I think this is an absolute lock for the Los Angeles Chargers. I really think 9 wins is definitely on the schedule for them.
Okay.
Very achievable.
I love the LA Chargers this year. I don't like them to beat the Chiefs, though. But
yeah.
If you're just losing 2 division games to the Chiefs and beating everybody else, you're still going to make the playoffs, and you're still going to hit my bet. So that's what I feel like. I don't like anybody else in this division. I don't think
the Broncos can't be worse, can they?
I think they are worse.
Yeah, they're terrible.
I think they're
they
worse.
can be worse than last year?
Oh, yeah.
Even Russell Wilson started to win games for them last year.
Exactly. And now they don't have Russell Wilson, and he was one of their best. It's sorry to say, he was one of their best players. This is a terrible team, and the Raiders did not get better either. So
terrible.
It's chalked up for wins for the Chargers and the Chiefs against all other division opponents.
Sean Payton's clearing house, and it starts with losses and losses and losses for draft picks and draft picks and high draft picks. It's going to be a down year for them. It's going to be a down year for the Raiders. It is going to be Chargers Chiefs.
Yeah.
But man, the Chiefs, that's the thing. It's just they're so good, and we were talking about culture, you know, with other divisions, other teams.
Yep.
They have it right now.
They haven't. And what I like about my Chargers bet about the nine wins is that the Chiefs will take their foot off the gas because they just don't care.
They
do not care.
Yeah.
They do not care about seeding, all that kind of stuff. As long as they can play in Kansas City round 1, that's it. They don't care about anything else. And I do think that the Chargers might split this year with them, and that's going to be a very, very good push to get 9 wins for the Chargers. I think the Chargers' 9 wins is a lock.
Well, you talk about the split. The split's going to happen. There's 3 games that Taylor Swift cannot attend. One of them is the Chargers in Kansas City.
We're already on
a
Taylor
Sunday
watch?
night.
We're already on Taylor watch.
So, just so you know,
that's huge.
That is a thing.
That actually is a thing.
It's a huge thing.
And we talked about it last year. I mean,
it moves the needle,
Andy. It does. It moves the betting. Well, she moves markets.
She does.
Economy.
She moves
economy.
Yeah, she really does. It's insane. And also, Sports Illustrated is making a big bet here on the Chiefs and Mahomes, the Mahomes family. They actually had to file for bankruptcy after they put, let's say, overweight women on the cover.
Yeah.
It didn't do so well for them. So then they followed up the following year with putting a trans woman on the cover and then just totally bankrupt them. Sports Illustrated got bought. Now they're going to rally and they're putting Brittany Mahomes on the cover.
Of the swimsuit edition.
The swimsuit issue. This is all swimsuit issue stuff, but that's always been their biggest moneymaker.
No doubt. Libby Dunn, Paige Sporonic, it's going to be a good issue.
There you go. So, I mean, they're really investing in the Chiefs.
I've done my research, Andy.
Sports Illustrated was due for a win. They were due for a win, and it just seems like everything the Chiefs do, it's like touches gold. Harrison Buckner, we're joking around about it, but I think overall that really resonated with a huge portion of America. I really do, and I don't see why.
One of the top jerseys sold out.
Yeah,
on Fanatics.
it was like number 1. Yeah,
sold out on Fanatics.
Women's jerseys. Women's jerseys.
Yeah,
it was sold out.
Absolutely insane.
Everything the Chiefs do.
You can try and push the narrative all you want with it. It's funny. It's not funny. Whatever you want to say. Money doesn't lie. His jerseys are sold out on Fanatics.
Yeah.
Incredible. And you bought 3, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm flush with cash over there winning all these bets, so you know what I mean.
I've just been betting the Chiefs the last 6 years.
So good. And I bet the San Diego Chargers in 2009, which really hit.
There we go.
That's the last time they won the division.
Well, so are you guys... You just had to let them have it.
Yeah, got to give it to them.
I mean, so the Broncos... plus 1,800.
No.
Las Vegas at plus 1,000. Do you guys see like any way to maybe get value off these guys on betting unders? I mean, because there's...
Yeah.
If Kansas City is going to sweep these teams, if the Chargers are more than likely going to sweep these teams, where are they going to pick up these wins?
Yeah.
No,
that's a very good point, Andy. And that probably is the way that you need to lean towards these two teams. But The Denver Broncos are only at 5.5 wins right now, over under. That is so hard to do, to lose that many games.
We've seen it done.
I know it happens. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. It happens all the time.
All the time.
But the under right now, under 5.5, is at a plus 115. So it is a kind of a long shot, and people do not think it's going to happen. But if I had to throw some money on the Denver Broncos right now, it would be to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, right there above the Carolina Panthers in the 2 to 3 win range.
Yeah, so that's like 4 wins.
So that is the bet that I was going to save as my long shot for this division, is the Denver Broncos under 5.5 wins.
Jeremy, what do you think?
I totally agree with that. It's a trash team, unfortunately. And
so
for those
tough.
fans, you got to look at the positive, which is you get to play with 17, 18 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a really good draft pick and get to be excited about your team in the offseason. Which you can find value with that, with hitting the under. One of the things I'm looking at is, all right, so let's say the Chiefs are going to win the division. Chargers, even though that plus 300 looks good, maybe there's a chance, but probably not. Chargers are going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
There's money there.
Really?
We are plus money. We're plus 100 to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I like that. So if you are going to bet within the division and look for value, that's where I'm going.
Heck yeah. No, I love that bet. I do believe the Chargers are going to be there as a wild card team, obviously.
Yep.
And the other thing with the Las Vegas Raiders, it's such a hard thing to bet, Andy, when these it's over under for their wins right now, 6.5. Just one over the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I don't see where they get wins at.
Yeah.
I do not like the Gardner Minshew, plugging him in. That's the best you could do.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking. I just don't get it, really.
The whole darn thing, too, the way they moved to Las Vegas, and they're basically an away team.
Yeah.
More times than
Every
not.
time.
And
The same with the Chargers.
There's so many teams. The Rams, we get all the hate.
Yeah.
Man, like you just said, the Raiders. Yeah. I mean, it's an away game.
It's an away game.
Who doesn't want to go to Vegas?
Especially for the Chiefs.
Yes.
Especially for the Chiefs.
No, I know a number of guys that bought season tickets for the Raiders that are just Chiefs fans.
Yeah, for sure.
And so they sell. Yeah, that's just the way it goes.
It's all red in there, and with the team that they're putting on the field right now, you can tell why. It's just I can't imagine owning a franchise like that in a huge market like that, and then just saying, okay, here's a season. Gardner Minshew's our starting quarterback. Beat Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Beat Justin Herbert.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. No, that's
and they're
not
not
going to
even
happen.
the worst in the division.
And they're not even the worst in the division.
Not at all.
But I might go under 6.5 wins on the Raiders.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to sidestep that one. I'm gonna go all in on the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Yep.
Right there with my Panthers.
The Raiders do have one highlight. They're going to get one upset win on like a Thursday night or something.
Doubt.
Sure.
And people
Black
are going to be
and gold.
hyped.
The Raider way.
Bet that one. If they play
The
on a
Raider
Thursday
way.
night, bet that one.
You bet that one.
All right, I like that. Bet the Raiders Thursday night. Okay, Chargers to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Okay, we're getting somewhere
Chiefs
here.
to win the division with no value.
All righty, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.
TL.
Capitalism is the only way, Leslie. It moves our country forward. It's what makes America great. And England okay and France terrible.
TL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the parlay pounder.
You got it.
And we're smack dab in the middle of summer, so
Yeah.
we got to just keep talking about the NFL.
Football.
Betting football, passing football, all of it. The NFL is a freight train, and
Yes.
we're on board.
We're on board.
We're talking divisional winners. These lines have come out. They've sparked a lot of talk, like they always do. So we're gonna talk about it too.
Yeah.
And let's get on over to the AFC North. This is such a good division.
It is.
I mean,
always has been.
From top to bottom, you can't overlook the Cleveland Browns anymore. I believe that.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals are getting Joe Burrow back, right?
Yep.
Baltimore Ravens look so good.
Yeah, the MVP.
At times with Lamar Jackson. Oh, and by the way, we're going to start from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Team that actually won the division last year.
Correct.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're bringing up the rear here.
Who?
Who? The Steelers, who? Plus 1,200 right now to win the NFC North. And what is going on? I mean, they went 5-1 in the division last year.
Yep.
What happened?
Well, it kind of looks like, Andy, that they had a little bit of change in quarterback.
They don't have Mason Rudolph anymore?
They don't have any of those guys anymore, Andy. And it seems like it's kind of a different team altogether. And it looks like I'm on the side of they are going to be very bad.
You think they're going to be very bad?
So I think they're going to be very bad.
They made a couple, the biggest, a couple changes here at quarterback. So they did bring in Russell Wilson. That's the headliner, right? And talk about, oh boy, the boomer bust.
Yeah.
I thought he was actually looking pretty good for Denver last year when Denver's like, no, we've seen enough. You're benched. We don't care about winning 3 games in a row. We don't care what you're doing.
Don't want to pay you. Get out.
Yeah, we're Sean Payton.
Not doing it again. Not doing it again.
It almost felt like he was like an athletic director that was hired to fire a coach.
Exactly.
Like they brought in that coach to fire the quarterback.
Exactly. He was just out on him. Didn't like the way he played it. Didn't like the play. It wasn't his quarterback, so he's out on him.
Okay, so double down now. Yeah. If you're a Pittsburgh Steeler, you're like, okay, we got Russell Wilson, and we believe in him. Let's pick up another quarterback nobody wants. Justin Fields from Chicago.
Yeah, Andy.
He hit the open market, and it was just crickets. For me, as a Bears fan, it validated
what everybody was thinking.
Yep, not paying him, not giving him that big contract that you heard on talk radio everywhere. Like, oh, they should pay him. He doesn't have a line, this and that. That he was totally validated when he hit the open market and no one ponied up to scoop him off. Finally, the Pittsburgh Steelers signed him, and it feels like an insurance policy to Russell Wilson with like this contingency plan where
play good or you're done,
and maybe take the starting role.
Exactly.
We wouldn't mind that.
No,
which is a weird thing to do if you're going to. Pay a veteran.
Russ.
If you're going to pay Russ, what are you doing here? So I just think the confusion at the top. I do like what they did in the draft. They got that big dude in the first round out of Washington, that offensive lineman, came right back around in the second round and got Zach Frazier, that big dude out of interior offensive lineman out of West Virginia. Those were great picks.
No doubt. But no matter who your quarterback is, that's a great pick.
Those are great picks, and it's so prototypical Steelers. So I like I always do, I like what the Steelers are doing on so many levels. The quarterback spot has me scratching my head.
No doubt about it, Andy. And lost one of their big weapons. Deontay Johnson is gone, obviously.
Okay.
But the way I look at this, Andy, you can say they went 5-1 in the division last year all that kind of stuff.
They did.
But they swept the Ravens and the Bengals. Obviously, Bengals without Joe Burrow and the Ravens banged up at times. Two of the best teams in the NFL when those guys are healthy. Right. That's not going to happen again. Okay. These guys are going to be on the bottom. Okay. They split with the Browns last year, and they ended up trailing them. They won 10, lost 7 games last year, also trailing Baltimore 13-4 last year, and Cleveland 11-6. So I just don't believe there's any room for it. Yeah, the one bet that you were talking about, Andy, that I think is kind of cool is week 1 starting quarterback. Russell Wilson is the big favorite at minus 700. Okay. Obviously, they brought him in to start. Yeah. But like you said, if they see something out of Justin Fields in camp, in preseason, that they like, he's plus 450 right now. So sometimes I like going with the younger model of what you have. Not saying that he is Russell Wilson, but he does show flashes that he is just as good sometimes.
Sometimes he flashed.
Maybe changes scenery is just what he needs.
He flashed in Chicago numerous times on numerous occasions. He beat the 49ers week 1 a couple seasons ago, right?
When they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, when they went to the Super Bowl, and the Bears could say, we took him down.
Yeah, we took him down. Week 1 in the mud.
So, it's not out of the realm at that plus 450 that Justin Fields could get the nod week 1 to get the start. I mean, they brought him in there for a reason. Stranger things have happened.
No doubt about it.
Should we move on up the division here?
The Brownies.
The Cleveland Browns are sitting in the 3 hole at a plus 550. 50. You got to like Stefanski and what he's doing and how he's built that team and how he's coaching that team. Love the defensive mindedness. They got a trigger man in there. I just don't think they're in a spot where they can win this division.
No.
With a healthy... You want to assume that Joe Burrow is going to be healthy.
Yeah.
He is right now. But it's summer.
Yeah.
And the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, reigning MVP, looks so good.
No, I just think there still could be a quarterback conundrum in Cleveland, Andy. Deshaun Watson, shoulder injury last season. Joe Flacco came in, carried the Browns to the playoffs, winning comeback player of the year in the process. Watson is figured to be the starter, but how short is his leash going to be is my thing.
It's like $300 million guaranteed dollars or something. That's a pretty long leash, I would think.
But we're seeing the same thing with Kirk Cousins and all this kind of stuff. I just don't. I don't believe in Deshaun Watson. I don't believe in the Cleveland Browns under Deshaun Watson. So he was 5-1.
It's been a long time.
He was 5-1 as a starter before. Before Flacco and all that kind of stuff. But
then Flacco went 4-1.
Yeah, so I think it's something to keep an eye on as Deshaun Watson kind of tanking this team and putting them back right where the Browns need to be, and that's at last place in this division.
They went 3-3 last year.
Yep.
Split with the Steelers, who actually won the division. Weird. I just feel like Deshaun Watson, he is uber talented.
Yeah.
And he's been humbled in a severe way. The NFL, they don't mess around, especially when you start talking jazz about the team that drafted you, the team that's hired you.
No doubt.
And he felt that cover, just totally taken off.
For sure.
When Houston's like, all right, we'll unload you.
Yeah.
And Cleveland, over the years, has been the place quarterbacks go to die.
Yes.
But Joe Flacco maybe turn that around. We'll see. I do think Joe Flacco's... That was a flash. I really feel like there's no way that's sustainable again.
No doubt about it.
So this might be where the value is at here in the NFC North. That is the Cincinnati Bengals at a plus 160, right behind the Ravens, who are also at plus money. But right now, I think you have to like what the Bengals have.
Yeah.
It all is on Burrow, and can he stay on the field?
Yeah, the whole thing, Andy, is that can the Bengals finally avoid the 0-2 start to the season? They've been doing this for years and years and years.
Yep.
The Week 2 matchup in Kansas City will make that difficult, obviously, but at least Joe Burrow gets to open up the season against a rebuilding Patriots team, Andy. So I think the schedule was always going to be tough, thanks to the nasty AFC North. But the Bengals will only play 3 teams outside their division that had a winning record last year.
Yep.
So I like the Cincinnati Bengals to not only... I think they'll probably win this division this year, but the big bet that I love for the Cincinnati Bengals is over 10.5 wins right now. I believe 10.5. I think they're going to win upwards of 13 to 14 games this year if Joe Burrow can stay healthy. And I know that's a big if, but we've seen him do it before. I believe they end 13-4 and win this division.
And I'm giving a lot of love to Joe Burrow, and why wouldn't you? But when he was a starter, he went 0-3 in the division. Last year.
He did.
And then they went 1-2 in the division without him, trying to figure something out.
Yep.
So there are things there to pause.
Yep.
It just feels like I like the strength of schedule, getting back to it, and also it's set up in a way where they don't have to start 0-2, 0-3 like they've been doing ever since they went on that Super Bowl run.
Yes.
And that Super Bowl run feels like forever ago now, dropping that to the LA Rams.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I like the Bengals. Joe Burrow's healthy. They have the superstars to make plays. I just think they're the best team in this division, top to bottom. But, that's kind of sneezing at the Baltimore Ravens.
I was going to say, well, let's talk about the Ravens. They're your favorite at a plus 110. So still plus money, not like the NFC West and the 49ers way out in front. Plus 110 is your bet if you believe in the Ravens.
Yeah, Andy, and they actually struggled in the division last year that we were alluding to, going 500 on the season. They still they lost 3 division games by a combined of 16 points and won their 3 division games by a combined total of 42 points.
That's so Lamar Jackson.
It is. It's so Ravens. It's like, sometimes they show up.
That's so Raven.
No, but no, they can blow teams out when they want to blow teams out, especially the bottom tier like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns in this in Cincinnati when Joe Burrow's not there. So I think they're going to have to put their disappointing AFC Championship aside and really hunker down for this AFC North title, because I believe the Bengals are out for blood right now, and
might be their year.
And if the Browns are a healthy team too, they could repeat as champions as well. I mean, repeat as contenders again. So I really think it's going to be a tough year for Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to come in kind of free and easy after the MVP. And just think it's kind of his division.
And that, and then you're kind of setting the guy up there for failure, which is only one way to go when you're at the top, and that's down. And then he is at the top right now with MVP. I thought he deserved it. And he kind of willed his team to a lot of victories. And you mentioned the point differential there. So the losses weren't bad, but the wins were phenomenal.
Yes.
Like that was Sports Center highlight after highlight after highlight.
Yes, it is.
And that's what people remember.
That is what he is.
And I think that has a lot to do with them being your favorites right now to win this division. That's what people remember.
No doubt. And they're rightfully at the top. I'm just saying I believe the value is there for the Cincinnati Bengals with their roster, with their quarterback. And with the strength of schedule this year, I believe they get 10.5 wins.
I think they can get 10.5, and I also think the Bengals, I think there's a world where the Bengals can win this division, and the Ravens still get to 10.5. There's an outside shot that all four of these teams could make the playoffs.
No doubt about it.
There really is.
No doubt about it.
And I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if 3 teams make the playoffs from this division.
No doubt about it, Andy. And if you're looking real crazy at the Ravens and Bengals, you have to look at Super Bowl futures. Just real quick, they got them right there, plus 900 for the Baltimore Ravens. Cincinnati Bengals a little bit better, plus 1,300. These are 2 teams that'll be there in the playoffs, I believe. 2 good bets going into the season.
It always feels like the Ravens are just 1 or 2 games away from that Super Bowl every freaking year.
Every year.
So you wouldn't be crazy to go that route, and we've seen the Bengals do it before.
Yes, we have.
W-T-L.
Capitalism is the only way, Leslie. It moves our country forward. It's what makes America great. And England okay and France terrible.
W-T-L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Class, and joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the parlay pounder.
You got it. We're back.
And you know who else we got back?
Of course.
A J.O.
The J.O.
Jeremy Odom.
Jeremy
You got a little podcast going on right now?
Yeah, Laugh With Me.
Laugh With Me.
Yep, yeah. It's out every Wednesday. It's out every Friday. We got the Friday happy hour coming out. So
Yeah.
Hey,
check it out. I told you, it's my dog walking podcast.
Yes.
When you come out and I see it's loaded up, it's in my queue. That's the dog walking podcast.
We're actually big in the corgi category.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I just got the yellow lab.
Yeah.
But our neighbors have a corgi. I could talk to them.
They're probably already listening.
Yeah,
they're already listening.
I know they're listening. Yeah.
No, in all reality, it is a really funny podcast.
Yes.
You're a great comedian. And it, like you said, it's trending. It's actually
trending.
It's hitting.
We're on the iTunes charts.
There we go.
Yeah, I
There we
appreciate
go.
any WTL listeners that take a listen. Thank you.
There we go. Well, we love having you on because you like to talk a little sports betting as well. Sports writer. You sports wrote for a couple of different outfits over the years. Yeah. So, and I always noticed you talked a little bit about sports betting, so it was a good fit for us here. We like to have fun. We're talking NFL divisions. Let's get down to one that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very competitive. A lot of folks are kind of split over this one, and that is the AFC South. You got the Houston Texans as your favorite at a plus 105, but all 4 teams are in that plus money category.
No doubt about it, Andy. And the first thing that screams at you, Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud coming off a huge Rookie of the Year season. Yep. Just it seems like the best quarterback taken last year, really propelled the team into the playoffs, got a playoff win. That's why it's set the way it is.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that is absolutely false. That is wrong.
Okay.
That is the wrong thing to do. They are overvaluing last year's season for C.J. Stroud.
So.
More tape on him, more everything on him. They will get the scheme. I'm going with the proven quarterback in this division that has done it for multiple years, and that is Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Anywhere from plus 285 down to plus 240, I think, right now to win the division. Yeah. I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are legitimately the best team in this division right now as we talk.
Jeremy, where are you at with it just off the cuff?
I do believe it's #sophomore slump season for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
I 100% don't believe that they will win the division. I also believe they will miss the playoffs.
Ooh,
So,
I like that.
Take that plus 135 for them not to make the playoffs. But the Jaguars, I don't think they're going to win the division.
Okay.
I think we're going to get another surprise in this division, and it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts.
AR-15, you think?
Richardson looked good at times.
He did.
He's the quarterback, young quarterback.
We're going to get him on the field. He's going to be ready to go.
Keep him on the field.
He's got way more time now to be prepared.
Yep.
He is an incredible athlete. I
One of the best, for sure.
I believe they built things around him to make it, but the defense is all right. I like the Colts. I think they're going to surprise me. They're this year's Texans, in my opinion.
Well, they're right there with the Jaguars. I'm looking at plus 275 Jaguars.
It's not crazy.
I'm looking at plus 325 for the Indianapolis Colts, rounded out by the Tennessee Titans with a plus 900. They're obviously bringing up the rear, but stranger things, right? We've seen it with this division before.
You definitely have seen it with this division. People winning it with a losing record in the past. It's kind of mirror of the NFC South division. With people winning with 9-8 wins, stuff like that. But I just when you look at this, it's hard for me to pick an outlier when the Indianapolis Colts. I love the team.
They're trending the right way.
I love AR-15. It's just, can he stay on the field?
Yeah.
And have I seen him play more than 3 games? Can't say that I have in the NFL.
So let's say he doesn't make it on the field, right? Look who's behind him.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco.
The Flack man.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I'll
he
take
saved Cleveland.
I'll take Flacco in weeks like 14 and 15, not the entire season. I get that he can do it for a couple games, not an entire season. There's a reason that that he's old.
Yeah.
But I totally understand your get with the Colts, and it's a future for a reason.
Right.
We're trying to predict a team or a player that is going to break out this season, and AR-15 is definitely one of those guys that you have to look out for.
He is primed for it, and you easily can see him doing that. But that unpredictable injury bug.
Yeah.
I'm in lockstep with you as far as the Jaguars. I really like the Jaguars, and I usually don't put a lot of stock into the draft, but for some reason I really am with the Jaguars this year. They went heavy on LSU.
Yeah,
and you know what they did in the first round? They got a receiver.
Brian Thomas
Jr. with the 23rd overall pick, and then they came right back and they picked up a defensive tackle out of LSU, Mason Smith. And those are if I'm trying to help a young quarterback, a guy that's proven, I want to go receiver, right?
Yeah,
and
no doubt.
I don't think, as far as recent history,
confidence with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
I believe.
Even if he is a bust as a receiver, it's telling your quarterback, "Hey, we got your back.
We're trying to get you guys. We're trying to get you guys."
And I guess LSU's been able to produce some receivers over the last couple of years.
I mean, you got a couple of them that are okay.
There.
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, those guys are fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sound like a Husker fan talking about the 90s.
Yeah,
What are we doing?
We are. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get to that. But I just like that first pick, and I usually don't like receivers in the first round. I thought it made sense here at 23rd overall.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's a piece that they needed. And I think that Trevor Lawrence has shown enough over the years to where he can carry a team if given the chance and the pieces around him.
No, I totally agree, Andy. I think, we're gonna sound like total idiots on this radio show right now. When CJ Stroud just comes out is the NFL MVP and wins the division and goes on to win the Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff. Yep. He's all the way up at plus 900 to win the MVP. That is third behind Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
Wow.
CJ Stroud is he's tied with Joe Burrow at plus 900.
Holy cow.
I just think that is such an overvalue just from what I get that he's good. I get that we saw that he was good.
Right.
But it's still a good rookie season.
Yeah.
Like the team played very well down the stretch, and they played in the AFC South, which was banged up last year.
Yeah.
I just think he's cruising for a bruising right now, and I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars are a multiple division winner in the last 5 years. Trevor Lawrence is
a proven commodity,
proven guy that can get the ball to these receivers. Brought in a new receiver. I love the MVP stats for Trevor Lawrence. He's at plus 2,500. At least that's an actual future bet, not a plus 900 for a second-year player that, that we, I guess he's proven. He's proven a year that he can be in the NFL. But no, I just don't get behind the Houston Texans. Yeah. I love the Jacksonville Jaguars in the division, and I love Trevor Lawrence.
Here's what I'll say about C.J. Stroud, and I was very impressed with them, but I thought after week 9, week 10, I'm like, all right, now there's enough tape out. Right. They're going to stop him, and they didn't. So there is reason to believe, there is an argument to be made that he's going to pick up where he left off. I just think there's more factors into it than just that. You mentioned the beat-up division. It was more than that. They played one of the worst schedules.
One of the worst.
Now they're going to play one of the better schedules. The NFL is all about parity. Earlier, Jeremy, you talked about you always have that team in each division that made the playoffs. Now they're not going to make the playoffs. Yep. For me, this just feels classic. Houston Texans are going to regress. They're going to take a step back. And if for no other reason, it's because they're playing a tougher schedule this year. They won too many games last year. They were ahead of schedule, you could say, with C.J. Stroud.
I love it. And I think most of my hate that comes from the Texans, or not so much hate or whatever, they lost to the Carolina Panthers last year. Who loses to the Carolina Panthers last year? When the two rookie quarterbacks faced off last year, who won?
And they played
Bryce Young.
Cake.
Bryce Young won. That's who. So, no, I'm foreseeing a sophomore slump for CJ. I just don't believe that Houston has what it takes. I believe Jacksonville will be back into prime position to lose first round to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I can't take, for the same reason you gave about the Panthers, I can't take the Jags because 2 years ago, epic comeback against the Chargers in the playoffs. And in the fourth quarter, I did my part. I had a Trevor Lawrence football card, and I took flame to it. It was on fire. I tried to reverse all the bad juju going on.
Reverse polarity on it.
But I think I was too late on it, so it didn't work. We lost that game. Mm-hmm. Man, they are good. They are really good. And they very much can win this division this year.
I agree.
And take the next step, I guess. Because they still aren't really
No, they never
respected
have.
yet.
No, they're not respected. No. And they've been in the second round of the playoffs, I think, twice with him.
Yeah, they're good.
And they just have to do it. And I believe this division is weak enough. You can tell by the money odds it is.
Sure. All plus money.
Everybody's plus money. Yep. I believe they are the only proven winner out of this stable of teams. And you just gotta hang your hat on that. Yeah. And if you want to hang your hat on C.J. Stroud, everybody else is doing it. Yeah. I'm not. I think he's a fantastic player, but they did lose to the Carolina Panthers.
Last little jab in there. And we have seen good things from Indianapolis. We've seen good things from Houston. You can hang your hat on that. But overall, the proven commodity for me is Jacksonville coming back here.
Sure.
And I love that they're in the 2-hole here at that plus 275 plus 285. I think that's where your money's got to go during this offseason if you're looking at futures.
Love it.
Jeremy, you got another one, or are we good?
Maybe you're not buying what I'm saying about the Colts. That's okay. I do think they're good enough to make the playoffs.
Okay.
And they are at a plus 170 to make the playoffs. So even if you think they're going to sneak in the wild card, remember, there's going to be like 6 teams that don't make the playoffs this year. Last year. It's proven. It'll happen every single season.
Yeah, has to.
I love them at making the playoffs at least.
You know what? You know what the best bet of this division is?
What's that?
NFL Comeback Player of the Year.
There you go.
Anthony Richardson is at a plus 750.
Gold.
This is just as good as you can do. That's plus 750. If he balls out like Jeremy's saying, he is definitely going to win this. The only players in front of him are Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Joe Burrow.
Maybe. Oh, jeez.
Kirk Cousins.
That's it, though.
Kirk Cousins.
Just those 3 guys.
Just 3 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, Rodgers, isn't he going to be vice president? And so
he's not
he'll be gone. Burrow, have you seen his hair lately? He's got other. He's going to be on Stranger Things.
These guys are has-beens.
He's got some issues.
No, I mean, obviously, if he balls out, there's a very good chance he can win this. Even with Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, and Kirk Cousins, they feel like they probably shouldn't give this award to these guys. These are MVP candidates. People that have been in Super Bowls, been in huge playoff games. I believe if Anthony Richardson does put in a good body of work this year and just balls out like we're saying, that plus 750 could cash for you.
No, that's an excellent double down. If you believe in the Colts, then AR-15 has to come through. That's a great double down right there.
Love it.
All righty, well, that'll about do it for us this week. Be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio and their Facebook page, Twitter, and then we're also growing on YouTube. YouTube. That's been fun, those YouTube shorts, feature length, everything that we do there. And then you're holding down TikTok, right?
Duh. We have to hold down the TikTok.
Okay. Yep.
Follow us at WTL Sports Betting, putting out big picks before any big games during the weekend. Make sure you follow us.
And Jeremy Odom, thank you once again for joining us. Laugh With Me podcast, right? And people can find it anywhere.
Yes, absolutely. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for finding us. Laugh at me.
Yeah, yep. For Joe Braun, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Klassen. Thank you for listening and enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. This has been WTL.
Herd at Sports Radio, every weekday morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Join hosts Robbie Lula and Damon Benning and our cast of Herd at Sports personalities as they share their fresh perspectives while keeping you highly entertained. Take a dive into the latest news in all things sports, from the pros to right here at home. Catch Herd at Sports Radio with Robbie Lula and Damon Benning, 7 to 10 a.m. on air, online, and on podcast. Herd at Sports Radio.